No, it's fine. Okay, so here we go. We are on YouTube right now. How do you feel, Yana?
I feel interesting. I feel excited.
Yeah, because basically I was just talking with you and basically my thing is I want to make as many as possible, videos for YouTube that explore ideas. And we were just talking about Thailand and
Mhm.
living there and all of that stuff. And so Yana is in Ukraine right now, which is her home country. And you decided like to move back there after being a digital nomad for a while, right?
Yeah, I actually traveled solo for half a year, and then I kind of lost the dream I was chasing. So I decided I had the feeling to go back to Ukraine. I don't know why, but just thought I need to connect with my parents and just live in Ukraine to use all the values which I gained while traveling. I wanted to use it back home. So I came to Ukraine, and then after a few weeks, the pandemic started. So I felt I was in the right place.
So how does Ukraine feel for you now? Like, having been out in the world, what does Ukraine represent apart from your roots, from your family? What insights have you gained about Ukraine and the country that you were born in?
Right now, I feel Ukraine, my connection with Ukraine, it just with my passport. Like, I don't feel it's like really my place to be, or I really enjoy it. For time being, it's good, and my life here is like super easy, like way easier than it was when I was traveling. So I appreciate that and enjoy it. But all in all, can say I want to make like my Balinese or Thai life here in Ukraine. I do yoga, I just go for a walk. I don't drive scooter here. It's like super dangerous, but I just have the same routine of enjoying small moments. When I was doing in Asia, I do it here. Like, I meet with open-minded people, like finding the communities who do offer like different events. So I just enjoy here.
So it's kind of like about how much you can take from your travels back home, actually.
Exactly.
And how much in the ways that you changed, are you just going like back to the old routine, or are you actually a changed person, like approaching life in a new way or something like that? So, yeah.
Mm, I don't know if well, definitely, I would say I had an old routine before, before I started my yoga journey. I would say it was like 5 years ago. Yeah, I had routine. I had work, eat, sleep, go to club, and that's it. That was routine. Right now, every day is so creative, and I can't say I have a routine. And yeah, I just do the stuff which Ukraine can offer. For example, go to the river, visit my relatives. Like, I really tend to talk with them every day and go to see them as often as I can. Go to the mountains, which we have amazing. Go to canoeing trip, which I had recently. So I use everything what Ukraine can offer. That's it. I don't go to the sea since I know I won't like it, and it's super crowded right now.
You're
It's a,
more of like a mountain person.
yeah, like
Yeah.
more of nature, like wild nature.
Like you want to go to Karpati and
Yeah,
so forth.
Carpathian,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing.
Okay, so I sent you a video a few days ago of Leo from actualize.org explaining the intro video for spiral dynamics. Like, let's talk about that because like this is something that it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a thing, but apparently like you watched it and you resonated with that because I don't expect everyone will, but you you did. So tell me about that.
First of all, it's a long video. It's like 1 hour plus, I think 1 hour and a half.
And there's also like there's
Mm,
also like 2 hour videos of each of the stages of spiral dynamics that he made as well, so which you can watch.
Honestly, before I will talk about the content, which you can really put in like few sentences. But I want to say that the quality of the video and the speaker and the clarity of information is like so good
Yeah.
that when I was listening and watching, I was just enjoying. It was like, I don't know, some light when I was watching to this video. And the project is nice. I really liked. I never ever like heard about it, so now I subscribe and I'm gonna see what's else interesting in there? But in general, I didn't expect that people really research these kind of life stages which we are going through.
Yeah.
And I won't say there is like one stage is bad or one stage is good, like really, because I can literally see what are the bad things happening when you are, for example, so spiritual, or when you're like your body is so clean. There are many bad things which happen, and it can be even worse while comparing to you or someone else who are just doing normal life, who drink, eat, sleep, go to work. So when you're like super on very, very like high consciousness level, it can be even worse. So it's all different, but it's good to know how, what are the, what can be the path. And especially if you're at the beginning, you will be like, wow, like interesting. If of course you have the potential to understand what's
Yeah,
going
well,
on.
the potential to understand, like, okay, so the whole thing sets up the stages of, like, I guess in most people's cases, it would be red, blue, orange, green, where people are living typically.
Yeah.
So, but the whole idea of like looking at this whole system, looking at this whole, it's essentially yellow on the spiral dynamics, like, there's a whole system, there's a society. We want to understand it. We want to see where people are at. It's like, okay, so I mean, I feel like I grew up in a society that was like way too orange, like in Canada, where everything was about success, everything was like about achievement, and super individualistic. And you know, then I moved to Serbia, which is more of like a blue society, where everything's about tradition, everything's about like society, the fitting together of everybody into a thing, and all that stuff. And yeah, and then there's the green thing. So all of these like people getting into yoga, all of this, and like and but it's also a crazy like stage, because like I want to look at life from yellow, but there's all this green noise, orange noise, blue noise, like tradition, society. There's like success, and you know, like achievement, and then there's like the social justice, equality thing, and all of these things. And it's very easy to like lose yourself in the voices of various like people who want to go on those three levels. But it's very hard to find people who want to talk about like, okay, what is society as a system, where is humanity as a whole? And I think like only us who have traveled outside of our cultures, like only us who have traveled around the world and seen different societies, can only understand like, yeah, there is different people, there are different, there's different people, there's different ways of thinking about everything, and all of that stuff. And like all of it's good, but we need to evolve ourselves. So what about the video? I guess my question, I need to turn this into a question actually, where I'm going to stop talking, you'll start talking. But what about it actually resonated with yoga? Because you're a yoga teacher, you trained in that and all of that stuff. I mean, where did you find that there's some truth to what this bald Russian American guy was saying? He's actually Russian. He was born in Russia. He moved
Really?
to, yeah, yeah, to the United States, but he presents himself as pretty American. But so this guy Leo was presenting this model of looking at reality, and it's super.
It's actually not him, but it's like all the, you know, all the research, and then they took it and they extended it.
Yeah,
So
it's not him. No, but he's like channeling. Like
mhm,
I can't really call it anything but channeling. You know, people who
mhm,
have like a stream of consciousness, stream of information, inspiration that just sort of comes through. And like you can see like he's standing there. He didn't write notes of what he's saying. He's just standing there like, this is the information. And it's
yes.
really amazing. So what so in learning yoga and all that stuff, how did you actually reach new levels of consciousness that brought you to a place where then you can look at this video and sort of understand it?
You mean, sorry, just to make it clear, you mean how yoga helped to have the mind of not, how to say, like, not conditioning or not being not depend on materialistic sources
Yeah,
of.
for example, I mean, not to like that actually, I think the central idea would be like your life is about you and your experience in life, and that's the most important truth. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about what other people say are the most important things in life. It's about you and your life as a human being in your body, out in the world, and the direct truth that you can find. You know what I mean? Like, because yoga, like for me, it's like a journey of like, I I access new levels of consciousness just by stretching in yoga.
Yeah, actually how yoga works, basically there is it's old practice, right? There are many books. I can't say I'm like so much deep into yoga history and I know all the asanas which are called in Hindi, or you know, like I don't know all of that. And but there are people who really want to, and they put their whole life as per like this old yoga tradition, you know, the
Yeah, but that
practice.
on spiral dynamics, that would be blue. That would be there's a traditional society, you follow the rules and get a result. Like it's just like the people who believe that success in life is as simple as you will go to university, get a job, and be paid for that thing that you learned.
Never be blue, because the idea of yoga is to balance like your physical, your emotional, your intellectual, your spiritual. And already when you practice, that means you tend to develop your consciousness, you tend to have unconditional love to you, to your people.
Yeah.
You tend to not be dependent on food, because there are many practices like kriyas when you clean your body. So definitely it's not blue, because blue is very low, right? It's
Well, it's the baseline of civilization. It's the baseline where people start to sacrifice their individual needs to accommodate a wider civilization that provides for everybody. So it's not really low, but yeah, okay. So I'm sure like every sort of discipline has multiple stages worked into it. So yoga, I mean, people who are on blue would believe that they go and join a yoga studio and do follow the instructions and
yeah.
get the result based on that. And they don't ask why. They don't ask why is this going to benefit me. They don't. But there's always like the possibility to go beyond and go beyond. So like when you were okay, so you said that you got into yoga when you were living in Dubai, right?
Actually, yeah, you're right. So people first, when you know, often, very often, when we have a normal life, we're on the, let's say, blue stage, right? We have our job, we have a family, and inside we know there's something wrong, but we don't realize what's wrong. Like really, we don't see what's the issue, right? And of course, we won't go to have a psychologist. We won't have even the gym access, because for some people it's extra money. For some people, like, oh, I'm fine, like totally fine. But inside, unconsciously, there is something wrong. So some people may like yoga. Some people can go to the studio and can start attending classes because the result which other people show and what the teacher says, it's like super amazing. So they wanna reach the same, and they start following the instructions, as you said, without any deep understanding. Just go do the asanas and I know do it regularly, because they say you always have to go to yoga like at least 2 times a week to have the benefits. So stuff like that. So they do it, and because of energy of the teacher, because the teacher, if he or she is practicing a lot, she gives lots of energy. And you know the energy thing, right? We always, like the law of you know, in physics, we learn, we always, there was less energy, something with bigger energy gives energy to the something with less energy. So same works with people. So this person who has zero clue why and where he or she's there, starts spending time with people who are following same values to be healthier, to be
Higher
happier.
consciousness, actually.
Hmm?
Higher consciousness.
Yes, people who really think about their lives. Slowly, the person reaches other level. And then everything opens up to this person because she, from being blind, becomes like his eyes are open and he finds interesting information, valuable information on social media, like on YouTube. He meets same-minded people who really like take him and help to grow. That's what happened to me. I was going to the gym which had yoga classes. I started to attend yoga and I felt like, wow, after the class, when you're walking, it feels like you're flying, like you have wings. I
Yeah.
didn't realize what's that. I just, I, since my like, since I was a kid, I loved to experience these feelings, you know, the results of the effect on something on me. So I like the state of mind, state of my body, my emotional level. And then slowly, I went on YouTube. Basically, YouTube really was the basement or the source of all the ideas. And then I became vegan. So, I mean, this is an amazing tool where we can get information and it's free of charge. But of course, we need to filter information. And of course, we have to listen to our own bodies. But once you are like you enter the studio or once you enter the gym, then the journey can start, and there's no winners, there are no losers, you know. So once you're there, it's your chance, it's your level, it's your ability, no matter which body you have, just the state. If you are happy, it means you're already won. So this the happiness from what you are doing, it's the best, because then you can see the changes in your personal life, like your family thing, your career. You start loving your job, you start getting more money. So it's like super connected, everything. What I mean, you know what I'm saying about, because
Well, it's
you
actually, yeah. I mean, for the conversation of spiral dynamics, it's basically like once you get out of scarcity mode. So let's say that the first stage is like red, blue, orange. You're actually reacting to a situation where you feel threatened. You're actually reacting to a situation where you feel like, if I don't do this, then life is not going to be good. And you know, like, so most of human history has been one of struggle. Most of our ancestors, you know, have been starving at some points in their lives. You know, it was hard. There was war. There was, you know, hardship, disease, all that stuff. And where we have arrived, like in the 21st century, actually a lot of these problems have been eliminated. And a lot of people, what they need to do is actually sit there, sit where they are, take a deep breath, and realize how lucky we are to be alive in the 21st century. Realize how a lot of the problems that our ancestors faced are not actually present in our daily lives. Yeah, sure. Right now it's 2020. We have the coronavirus, but compared to World War II that my grandparents like went through, it's not really a problem. It's kind of just like something that you kind of have to put a little bit of energy to sort of manage and take some precautions, but otherwise your life is good. You have food, you have shelter, you have information through the internet like never before. You have the chance to listen to conversations like this. And and what yoga is actually, I think what yoga studios are and all of this stuff, and it's like a shortcut to go to a space where people are thinking outside of this like survival mindset. The survival mindset is like, I have to do this or else I won't survive. I'll lose money. I'll gain money. Blah 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 blah. It's like success. Blah, blah, blah. But what you just described right now is something outside of the framework of competition, where somebody can actually, rather than competing against other people, which is what the survival mindset tells you you need to do, you actually start to look at yourself. You actually start to look at your own consciousness. You actually start to look at how you can be a better version of yourself. And that's what I think yoga is all about. It's not about competition. It's not about being better than other people. It's not about making money, but all those things will come if you just settle yourself in the mindset of abundance.
Yeah, I'll just add here, like definitely, yoga is not about competition, um, but still we are human beings, and still we are materialistic beings, and sometimes it can feel as a competition, because when you are in the yoga studio, you always find people who perform better than you can,
Yeah, sure.
and you can always find people who know they can perform better. That's why they have that kind of attitude. Same happens between yoga teachers, like
Of
when
course.
yoga and money. So you can meet it, like, because we are people like Western society, yoga a little bit different than it is, because we know it's a trend, it's well marketed thing. So often there is a competition, you can see that, and unfortunately sometimes I know yoga teachers can be as not polite and nice in the social media especially, but it's just, I'm telling all of this not to like sound negative, but just to say that not everything is perfect, and not if you start practicing yoga you're gonna reach zen, and then you don't need money, you don't need food, you're like at peace. No, it's not like super universal tool. No, everything is there. Like you will always be uh feeling like you will always have your ego, and
Yeah,
like, and you cannot like give it give up on it, like you cannot, it's always with you. But it just, the matter how we communicate with it, like how friendly we are, it can be our enemy or it can be our best friend. So that's the main idea. And don't like, I'm just talking to someone who may be watching this video, like do not hesitate to change the teacher, do not hesitate to start your own practice. Just like do like follow this journey and talk to more people, like talk online, just to see how different it can be, and read some books. And because some people may meet a teacher like who just doing yoga business for money and get completely um, like lose taste in yoga, saying it's all just physical thing. And I met teacher trainings, especially like in US, I saw online where people just do this like ashtanga, just asanas, handstands. Like not every yoga teacher can do a handstand. My yoga teacher in Rishikesh in India couldn't do the handstand. No, I mean, they had a small belly. It's completely different idea from the Western mindset, where yoga teacher need to do the handstand just on one hand, stuff like that. No, yoga is just about here, and you don't have to do to be super flexible or super strong.
yeah, but it involves actually like one thing is for sure. The mere practice of yoga, just by doing it, you will
Yeah.
improve yourself. You will improve your body, you will improve your mind. And a lot of people might look at yoga like it's some sort of cult. It isn't. It's you and your direct experience of your body, your mind. What are you doing? Who are you today? How can we take that a little bit further past your comfort zone? And how can we just like bring something special into your day by making you explore the physical so that you can better explore the psychological and
Sounds
spiritual?
like yoga teacher.
Yeah, I don't, like I considered maybe I should become a yoga teacher, but no, it's not for me. How did you become a yoga teacher? You said you went to India and all that stuff.
Yeah, I had my yoga teacher training in India for like normal one for 26 days.
What's it like there?
I quitted Emirates, and last year
You
when I
quit
was
the country of the Emirates.
I quitted the company and the country.
So you quitted the orange on spiral dynamics because like from what I understand, Dubai is all about like money, materialism, showing off to other people, and you had enough of that stage basically, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I felt. So I knew there is the other way for me. So I decided, and I was already doing my practices, going to the beach often, often to do yoga on my own, meditate on the beach. Like beach was my favorite place. So when I quit it, I had few months like just to relax, and then I signed up for yoga teacher training in Rishikesh. So I went there because I thought I wanna be like certified, and then I'm gonna be teaching yoga after I finish. So it'll be like super cool. I will know everything because it's yoga teacher training. They will give me all information I need to be the best teacher in the world. So I went there, and I was surprised to meet people in my group. There are actually many Americans, like most of the group were Americans, some Europeans, and me from Ukraine. So the people who were with me, half of them, they were having yoga teacher trainings for the second time.
Yeah. So
And
they did the first one where they're from, or like America or something like that, and they're going like for the real one in India.
exactly. Yeah. And also, I was surprised that 80% of the students were not going to teach yoga in future. They were doing it just for themselves, just to
Okay.
deepen the knowledge, just to experience, to have kind of retreat. I was surprised because I went there with maybe kind of materialistic aim to,
Yeah.
to earn money when I finish it, but it was like really really deep training, and I would say it was more about yogic history, meditation. It was kundalini yoga teacher training, maybe that's why. But we had like 2 hours of like normal yoga flow per day only, and the rest we had just like lectures about the anatomy of the body, meditation thing, karma yoga. It's like when you do some kind of activities or help in the ashram. It was a nice experience, but it was not all about physical thing.
So I
So
have
that,
one actual question about the whole thing.
mm,
Were the teachers funny?
yes, I mean they, of course, they were Indians.
Of course.
They had like very good sense of humor, and they were very like smart and deep in their knowledge as well. They were not like monks, so you sit like, no. It was, we were very relaxed, and they were dressed normally, not like Indian traditional, so normal clothes. And they were fun. We were going for dinners. The days when we were off, they were giving us some excursions. And right now we are connected on social media. We still like comment on each other's videos and on Instagram. So it's very open-minded people, like really. And yeah, that's why I like it. But then my idea here is that I was wrong when I thought this yoga teacher training is going to give me all information in the world for me to be brilliant yoga teacher. No, it just opened for me the door to start, like to continue actually, but on a different level, to to deepen my knowledge and to do more of self practice and to find my own style, because every yoga teacher has to have his or her own style and own I wouldn't say I want to be a yoga teacher, because for me it's, I want to talk more about relationships, more about self-development with yoga instruments, but not just yoga, because I feel like still I'm from different culture and I can use yoga instruments, but I'm not Buddhist. I like Buddhist kind of like some theories and this culture, this religion, but I'm different. So how can I like take the instruments and 100% implement in my own life? So that's where I felt a little bit different, but definitely we have to use the best things which every culture, every tradition has, even every religion. I'm always about the balance, balance of everything. Something I take from Ukraine, something I take from Asia, from Dubai, something I take from Americans. They're positive thing, because we here we are super grumpy, and people in America are like so easy for them to start a conversation, like really. So that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, taking things from different cultures and like what is the best of all of the world that I've been to and how can I fit this all together. That's kind of like what I try to do with my internationalism and being a mix of different cultures and genetics, like to start with, and going out into the world and seeing what is out there. It's like,
True.
maybe people in India have something to teach us about yoga. maybe people in Europe have something to teach us about ideas. Maybe people in, Thailand have something to teach us about spirituality and all that stuff. And it's like
About food, definitely in Thailand.
food.
I
Uh,
miss this.
yeah. I mean, for me, Asia is like, it's amazing. I mean, the whole world is amazing. I just, me personally, I much enjoyed my trips to the old world more than the new world, like going to, US, Canada, where I grew up. Latin America doesn't really offer me a huge amount, but when you go to these places like Thailand and stuff, you can just see how people behave, how, like you see all these studies now, it's like nobody knows why Thailand isn't suffering from coronavirus, but they completely eliminated it. It's like, okay, well, that's their culture. They
Yeah.
they dealt with it. I saw what they were doing. It was very, they don't, yeah. And it's like, why? Okay, it could be their Buddhism, could be the fact that they're like taking the right measures. It's like, and so I haven't been in India. I didn't go there yet.
Have you
Sounds
been,
interesting. What?
have you been to Bali?
Yeah, yeah. So Bali was cool for me, but it seemed a little bit too. I don't know how to describe it, but a little bit too much out there, like way far away from everything, and a little bit too much like there's so little interaction between the gringos in Bali and the actual local culture. All these Australians who just get on the
Yeah.
plane to Bali, get off the plane and party. And it's like, whereas like what I found in Thailand and Chiang Mai and Koh Phangan was like much more like people end up here because they had a destination in mind. They're not just going off of a plane from their home country and getting off, and like it's not like the default destination is like you actually have to like do a lot of research to get to a place like Chiang Mai or Koh Phangan. I mean, Bangkok was disgusting a lot of the time. Like the places where I went in Bangkok, I was not a fan of that city. But like once you get into these like expat communities in Chiang Mai and Koh Phangan and places like that, you're like, okay, so people, I mean, it's not perfect. People were escaping something. They were escaping things they didn't like about their home culture to go to Thailand and be that Farang, that gringo and stuff like that. And I really am one of those people. Actually, like I hated my life in Canada because it didn't fit me, and I went out into the world to find places that more fit me, like Serbia and now Thailand. And it's just and the people I can be, that person I can be in those places. Like, yeah, it's good, but yeah, Bali was like I feel like it was too much of the first destination people go to. And for me, Copenhagen, where I was locked down during the coronavirus, was like perfect. It's like, but I didn't really see the whole thing there. I was mostly sticking to myself because it was the time of coronavirus. I wasn't meeting new people, but it was also like kind of cool for me that like most of the gringos on the island were actually Russian. And having being someone who grew up in Canada and
Copenhagen is like
chose to
such a
live.
special place. Like really, it's a Bali Australian place. Copenhagen belongs to.
Yeah.
Small.
So yeah, I decided I wanted to live in the Slavic world, actually. Moving like my family from Slovakia, my father's family is the mentality I was raised in. And then I moved to Serbia and, learned their language, their culture and everything. So I was looking for a place that was like Eastern Europe with a beach. And that's what I found in Copenhagen. And I'm going back like as soon as possible. It's the borders aren't open right now, but I'm going back as soon as possible. And I'm here living my life. When I was there, I was missing Europe in the springtime. I was like, it's April. It's such a beautiful time in Belgrade. Look, the weather says it's 20 degrees. I could ride my bike around. Now I'm here. I can go and take my bike outside, ride around everywhere. But I feel like, wait a second, I've done all that previous years. And now I just can't wait to get back to the island in Thailand and continue training with Sky, my personal trainer there. And just like, has it changed? Because like somehow when I was living in North America, it was like my life was happening in Europe. I would travel 3 months a year, 3 months at a time in Europe and North America. I lived between them, and my excitement was on Europe. Now I live in Europe after that whole process of discovering myself. And now my heart is in Asia, actually. And I don't know how to explain it to people. Do you feel the same?
I did, honestly. I felt before, like 2 months ago, when I consciously quitted, like finished my trip, when I came here because I wanted to, I felt I got to know the solution for it and why I was having the same as you have the um, so hard to talk in English now because I like so rarely I speak English when I'm in Ukraine. So it's like you
Okay.
you you lose
Thank
the
you.
fluency.
Thank you. Thank you for trying.
So I mean, there is something when we keep traveling. When I wanted to travel, when I was in Dubai, I hated everything and everyone. I thought, oh,
Yeah.
the best life is in traveling. The best life is to be digital nomad and stuff like that. So when I started this life, like traveling on my own for basically it was almost 1 year. It was 1 year, but during this 1 year, I had few months spending in Ukraine because I was like going and coming. But I spent 6 months ongoing trip, and I didn't know when it's gonna finish. So when I was leaving, it was like, okay, for good, bye bye, mom. I'm like, I don't know where I'm gonna end up, like USA, Australia, I don't know, but just like bye. So I traveled for 6 months and then I realized there is something I'm trying to escape. And that's what I'm trying to escape basically is in me, not in Ukraine, not in Asia. It's me. You know,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with me. Oh,
Oh,
there's something wrong with my connection with my parents. There's something I do not really like in me. I don't want to like admit it. And I'm finding the easier way to like forget that I'm not liking something in me. So traveling and exciting new people. So you basically switch the focus on something else instead of working it through. But then there is something else which is coming from outer world. Will finish sooner or later. It's gonna finish because it's an outer thing, that it comes and goes, comes and goes. But here we always come back to here. And once we do like work through like our inner child, our connection with parents, I know our relationships, like stuff, all these things, some offenses, like whatever. Once we go through, realize what was wrong, what I want right now, feel the moment, then the traveling and then the idea of changing places like super fast will be solved out. Because my last months in Pangan and then from Pangan I went to Bali were completely like, I book a bungalow, for example, and then for 1 week, I just stay indoors, going to eat 3 times a day, like overeating. It was the end of my trip. I felt depressed, like really. And I don't want like to meet people because I know it's the fact as the spiral dynamics. Still, even if people travel, still they can be on different these stages, right? So not everyone who is traveling like super smart or super open-minded. Like I'm not calling myself this thing as this person, but just there are values which we are discussing right now. Not all people like to discuss it as you mentioned at the beginning. So I don't want to communicate because I knew it's all about drinking. It's all about in Pangandra like parties, all this electronic music and stuff. I was not interested in that. So I felt depressed, like really. And my connections with parents were not good. There were many offenses from the childhood. So I decided that like really, I have to go back to Ukraine to finish it all, like to
yeah.
make it done, like I have to do it because I cannot move forward. No matter I'm going to Australia, I'm going to USA, anywhere, I have to, to do this shit and then I'm free. So I went back and then the quarantine started and guess what? I was like, not locked, but I spent all the quarantine with my parents and my brother in the village.
Yeah.
Like the girl who lived abroad for 4 years traveling lives now in the village with parents whom she was not living for 4 years. That means,
Deal with it. Yeah. Just like deal.
right now, and they don't know me how I changed because I was not with them. So we had first few weeks it was amazing because super quiet, the whole family together, everyone is happy, enjoying, blah blah blah. And then, of course, all this, and plus me right now, I learned how to speak out, you know, like whatever I'm not feeling okay, I talk about it. Not in an angry way, but I just talk because I know I have to, you know, to, I know,
You
to
have to
get
accept
advice.
yourself.
Mhm. So I started to talk, and of course my parents, they are very super classical Ukrainian people, and who are very far away from like personal growth, or like the USSR people, like they're amazing, but their
Super blue.
mentality,
It's blue in spiral dynamics. It's just like, this
yeah.
is what I'm in. This is my society. These are the rules I'm following. And we're going to run our family like this. We're going to run this is how it is. Anything outside of that is weird, right? Yeah. You're weird to them.
Basically, I had this kind of childhood offenses, which I happen to know were mainly connected with my dad. So we had like to talk a lot. Not like to talk. They were like I was like screaming and crying and everything. I was not talking to them for a while. And the funny thing is, like at some point, when I was doing all of that, I was just telling them like, hey, these days I'm gonna be quiet. Like, hey, I'm talking this because of this. But in fact, I know this is wrong. Like, I know I'm doing wrong, but I have to do it because this is like my offense. I have to go through it. You know, they were like, I had two personalities. One is the wise person, and the other one was like a small child, like a teenager who were living with them, who she didn't live her life fully when she was at this age. So right now I was living as a teenager. It was so funny. I didn't know when it's gonna end up, but right now I feel like it's like 80% or 90% over. Of course, I moved out from them when pandemic finished. But it's not just because of this offense. It's not just because I know I have to do my, like, to live my life and to build my life. So, and I feel more potential when I'm in my own zone, not with parents. This is different energy.
Yeah. You've
Every
evolved
time
beyond what they
has
taught
to
you, and you
separate.
just needed
Yeah,
to revisit that, right?
yeah. I love when I just come to visit them, stay a few days, and then go back to my place. And I know I have many goals, many tasks in Kiev now. I have the, you know, different events to visit, to walk around the city. So it's like that. That's the thing. Do I want to travel right now like I wanted before? No. Maybe I had enough of Asia, but honestly, I just like closed the wound. I healed the wound which I had when I, you know, before I wanted to travel. And I want to travel, but it has to be a different kind. It has to be the aim. It has to be like
More
project.
purpose, yeah.
Huh?
Like, what are you traveling for? What's the mission? How is this going to evolve you and the people around you? Like, it comes to a point where, like, you're just traveling, you're seeing all these different places. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, good food. All right, yeah, I saw this. Check this. Saw this, and then what's your mission actually? What are you doing? And why are you traveling to these places? This is what, with my business, I actually travel
It's
the
very,
world, and it's good because I have a purpose. If I was
yeah,
just on the beach, going to
yeah.
Bali to sit on the beach, no.
Yeah, actually, I also had a purpose. I had my remote job and I wanted to grow my business when I started traveling.
Yeah,
And I wanted to teach yoga. I had this kind of ideas, but you know, I had more important thing which was not like cleared out. So I couldn't do this. I couldn't focus. There was something distracted me all the time. That's why I call this like gypsy style travel. And I told myself like, hey, I feel like I'm done with it. I want a different level. And also realized I don't want to travel on my own,
yeah,
because always it's like, maybe every girl says like it's a different thing when it comes to girls solo traveling. It's not scaring, but still, it's not comfortable for me to travel on my own. When I'm walking with my backpack, there are many people who like locals, if it's Indonesia or if it's like Thailand, you know, many people like stop and ask and talk and blah, blah, blah. So at this point, I don't want to travel on my own. Maybe that's why I decided to quit, because makes me often feeling very uncomfortable. Not scared, I'm not scared, but it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, so it comes down to, yeah, and actually I went through a similar thing this past couple of years where I was traveling, like it's not what you're talking about, but I was traveling and being alone, and you can always find various people on like Couchsurfing or something like that to meet up with randomly in different places, and that's fine, but it's like fast friendships and stuff like that. What I craved actually was traveling the world with people that I knew, with people that I was close to, with people who I was building something with. So this past winter, I did actually do that, rather than just traveling to all these places by myself like I did the year before. Each place that I went, I took somebody with me. So in November, it was me and Malin. We were in Thailand, and we were working on this like stuff for the business, which was like recruitment platform, video interviews, whatever it was. And then I went back to Serbia, and then I rented a car and drove down to Greece and met with Georgina, and then I came back to Serbia, flew to South Africa where I met Nick, who's working with me, helping me run my business. And then in March, I was again with Georgina in Copenhagen. It's like really like, so you reach this point where you can travel everywhere, do everything yourself, see the world, become so like super enlightened, study this, study that, do that. But unless you're actually building relationships, unless you're actually um, starting to lay the seeds, like the nomad life is very unsatisfying unless you actually have something that you're building, that you're going towards, that like that some consistency. Like now I know I can, every Wednesday I'm having meetings to run this company support a venture that I started, and it gives me satisfaction. If like maybe I could stop everything right now, give 1 month's notice on my entire life, and have a bunch of money and just stop. But then where would I be? I'd be like a lost gringo in the world. But the fact that there's like something that I'm building, something that I'm, and it's not just like fly somewhere else, be someone else, meet other people. I mean, it's about like what are the values that you have, that you're trying to build in this life? What are the things that are important for you, and how can you build that? And what's the routine that represents those things? And how can you go to different places? How can you land on a different part of the world and have that life that you've set up for yourself? That's what I'm going for, and it's difficult. Not a lot of people understand this, but enough. That's why I like Facebook so much, actually, because you keep in touch with people there. I've been on since 2007. You keep in touch, like, hey, I'm in Thailand. You post a picture. Someone comes up of the 2,000 people on my Facebook friends that I've met over the last, 12, 13 years. It's like, hey, I'm here too. Let's meet. Great. Awesome. And just that, if we're going to be these global citizens, if we're going to be like these people traveling around, there needs to be like a group of people who are, yeah, we're watching out for each other.
Couchsurfing, maybe without hosting, but the couchsurfing of like digital nomads, people who are like frequent travelers,
Yeah.
who have their own like who care about earth, who care about their own health, who care about other people. So
Yeah, or just that they're on this level of consciousness of like, let's see the world.
people who
Like,
trust the world, who trust other people, because
yeah,
frequent travelers, we know that we have to trust others because there is no other way out. If you do not trust other people, if you do not trust strangers, it means you can't travel. It's all about trust.
trust the universe. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, actually, when I first started using Couchsurfing in 2003, I think it was 2003. Actually, it was Hospitality Club in 2003, and then I was Couchsurfing in 2005. My dad was like, that's great. Because back in the 70s when I was hitchhiking, I used to have to meet people on the street. Whereas like Couchsurfing gave us a platform for actually finding the people that you're going to have lots in common with, and send them a message, let them know you're coming. And they're like, yeah, come in my home. Yeah. So, I mean, that changed my life. And,
yeah, especially the reviews and
yeah, I'm hosting actually the first time next year. Next week, a girl from Turkey is coming apparently, because like coronavirus, like yeah, it hasn't been good for couchsurfing. Let's just say that, and I hope it continues somehow. In some way, it will. Even like yeah, I don't know. I'll host next week. At least this is what I think. Like you need to at least do something once every year. Like I need to play once in a year with my band, even though I've been focusing on my business. It's like, no, the band needs to play a gig once a year and to keep it going. It's like, because this is something hosting, like I always said, like if I were to have a religion, it would actually be couchsurfing. That you should
That's interesting.
welcome people from other cultures, different parts of the world into your home if they're interesting to you. What else is gonna, I also always said if I was a dictator of a country, that at the age of 18 I would kick all of my citizens out for 2 years. Like if I was the dictator of a country, I would say once you're 18, you go out and you come back when you've learned something about the world. So
Yeah, that's such a nice talk.
yeah, but you and I both had the benefit of actually having that experience from our own choices to go outside of our cultures and travel around the world. And my father and my grandfather, were on the same page. So I'm like, yeah, I'm super for this international culture and super for like but also going back, like you went back in Ukraine and you realized that there's some missing parts of you that you needed to discover that for yourself like now. So it's amazing. I mean, like it's amazing, and it's just great to have the internet and to meet people like you over the internet and just like have a conversation like this posted on the internet so people can listen. Like, what was it like for these people to go outside their culture and get these ideas? And yeah,
I will add here, like, yeah, that's so good that people can listen, people can see that people who share similar mindset to them, they exist and they are
yep,
ready to connect. And they're, that person who will watch is not the only one, because that's what I felt. Like it's super hard to find like open-minded and mindful people, because they're minority and they always do not sit on, I know, apps like Tinder or
definitely not.
like some big fake Facebook groups. Like they are not there, so you feel like you're alone or something wrong with you, or I don't know, you have your own sick mind, something like that. But then when you meet people who like to discuss, who like to dig deep to see what are the causes of your state of mind, what can be done, give advice, like normal advice, ask your advice, listen to you, it's so amazing. It gives you it proves you that you have to trust the process, and you're going to meet your tribe, you're going to meet your people. And luckily, I'm so happy that this tribe or the community of mindful people is growing. People are waking up, and like really it's so amazing, especially this pandemic. It showed that really the society is waking up, and I honestly feel it's done for better. Even maybe someone wanted to do it for worse, but still it it showed us it's possible to be productive online, and it's possible to stay happy, and it's possible to make money online even
Yeah,
when everything else is closed. This is the best.
exactly. I mean, and
To
just
work.
it really forces people to see where the love is at in their heart.
Yeah.
The normal life is disrupted, and how are you gonna like be at peace with yourself and the other people in your life? How are you gonna broadcast that love? Is what I feel from this online sort of like thing, is like, how do we go about the future so that like more love can be expressed? Because mm, there's too much in the past which is too aggressive, too violent, and too judgmental and all this stuff, and now we've sort of been leveled in a way that's like, let's start again. Let's start by
Yeah.
step by step, building the life that we want to build and finding the people that we want to be around and all that stuff. And it's
And
it's it's really good. I like it. I'm
No,
excited to
you were
see.
actually very right to say that in the past, why there was so much anger, so much, the despair, because people were going through the very hard times. There was war, there was sickness, and many things, and poverty. No, poverty like poor.
Yeah,
Poverty.
poverty. Yeah, I
So
mean, but
of
now we're
course,
good in
yeah, right. Now
general.
we're good, but we cannot say that, oh, in the past everything was horrible and now we're amazing. No, in the past it was kind of horrible, yes,
More
but
challenging.
yeah, it was more challenging, and it was a result of the events which were going at that moment. Right now we have different circumstances, so do we have the right to feel so miserable like our ancestors felt? Of course not. So it means we're given other opportunities, so we have really to move forward and imagine what, like, 30 or 50 years from now, what our grandchildren will be, like how they will be. I'm pretty sure there will be something like the Avatar movie.
I haven't
So
seen it, but I think I know
um,
what you're talking about. It's like, there's like actually the people who impress me the most these days are like 20 years old.
yes,
Actually, like that generation of people, they're gonna come and they're gonna do some good stuff in the world. I can already see it because they have
they're
been
still open, like no
they're
box, no
not
box.
even that they're open, but there just seems to be a wisdom that came from people who grew up with the internet. Like for me, the internet was like became a thing when I was a teenager, and everything after that was like free information, you know, different sources of information, build your own life based on who you want to be, based on the information you're consuming. It was like before that, it was all mass media. It was all like the news, the television, what's on television, what's on the news. But then when I was a teenager, the internet started and it became like, what are you interested in? Let's immerse you in that. What are
Mhm.
the ideas you like? I mean, there's negatives of like, all these people who believe like various conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Whatever, that's a negative like thing that people get into on the internet and makes them really paranoid about their life and everything. But like for the whole, it's like now you have access to information to become who you want to be and to live in a society that you want to live in based on you and your friends and how you structure that. It's not like there's a system now that's going to oppress you, like in the same way that it did. Like for example, I mean, okay, maybe I'm biased because Soviet Union was, from my perspective, communism and all that stuff was a very oppressive system, and from my perspective, North American life up until this day is a very oppressive system, of ideas and thoughts and the way that it forces people to live a certain way. So, but now it's like whatever the level of consciousness you're at, you can tune into that on the internet and you just get a echo chamber, and the result will be a lot more people will evolve beyond the mainstream of people. And yeah, it's going to be good.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I think this conversation has come to an end. I thank you
It's
very
gonna be
much
too long for
for.
people to watch it fully.
Yeah, I look forward to the comments. There's always going to be one person who has a little hate on for whatever, but I hope that people will watch this and resonate with it, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah,
Thank you
great.
very much, Yana. I'm going to press
Thank
stop now
you.
and we'll continue to talk. Ciao.
Ciao.